Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about the question, how do I create a better relationship with myself? The other day I was talking to a friend of mine and we were talking about his mental health, and he admitted a lot of his, mental health not being great came from his own self. That he was his biggest critic and he was hard on himself. And he often didn't acknowledge the good he was doing, his good qualities as a human being, and that he mostly focused on the negatives, his anxiety and stress. He asked me, I know you preach self-love being the number one priority in life. How can I implement this and how can I be better at self-love? So this is a great question, and it's something that all human beings deal with throughout their life. The first thing I would say is understand it's hard, and it scientifically goes against how your brain is wired. So your brain is evolutionarily wired to think about danger and negative outcomes as a protective measure to keep you alive. Obviously back in the day when humans were, maybe roaming around with predatory animals, this was a very useful skill, in terms of being vigilant about your surroundings. Today, obviously, most of us, when we walk across the street, don't need to worry about an animal eating us. But our brain still works in that negative preparatory thinking in order to be prepared for any situation. So, kind of with that context, a lot of the times our brain works in the mode of what went wrong, how could we do better, reviewing all the negatives as a means to try and be better the next time a similar situation occurs. But that being said, understand that thoughts can change and you can rewire your brain. If you can think negatively about yourself, if you just flip that, you can also think positively. It's really just about flipping it. So then the question becomes, how do I implement that flip? I think the main thing is you have to be mentally self-conscious about what we just talked about in point number one and challenge your brain. So you need to, in my opinion, I think the best way to do this is intentionally focus certain periods of time to think about gratefulness, to think about positivity, to write down what's going well. So, obviously you can look up, but some ways that I think this can be implemented is, waking up in the morning and writing down one thing you're grateful for. And then maybe at the end of the day, saying, one thing you're proud of, from the day, and another thing that you're grateful for based on the day. And I think the thing is, it can be simple. When I have this conversation with a lot of working professionals, they always come to me and say, my days are pretty similar. Like, how am I going to see gratefulness, in my Monday to Thursday? And I think you have to understand it doesn't need to be, some big accomplishment. It can be as simple as, I'm proud of myself for getting 8 hours of sleep. I'm proud of myself for letting myself, relax and watch 1 hour of Netflix. I'm proud of myself for exercising today. All of those three things can be, for someone who doesn't sleep enough, someone who's a workaholic, someone who's not consistent with their exercise routine. And I think this doing the proud routine is really critical because I think most people are their biggest critic. And I hope, through this video and maybe just through your understanding of life that you can change that, and the next time I talk to you, you can say, I'm my biggest supporter. And then again, even in terms of that end of the day gratefulness, it doesn't have to be something fancy. It can be, I'm grateful there wasn't a lot of traffic going into work today. I'm grateful for catching up with a friend for an hour. And I think in conjunction with this is you need to define what a good day is. Um, I think a lot of people don't have that, so it's hard to acknowledge a good day if you don't have it defined. And again, for me, and I'm not saying this is the right way to look at life. We're all different, but again, I've taken things very simple. For me, a good day is, uh, you know, nothing, sad or bad has happened in terms of losing family or friends. I work hard at my job. I exercise. I try to do, something related to grateful living after work. And then I try to relax. And, I think it's simple, but I think if that's something you're struggling with, I would write out what a good day is. And, have it in front of your door or something like that. And kind of evaluate at the end of the day, was it a good day or not? Um, and I think the other thing is, for people struggling with being their biggest supporter, understand it takes time and practice. It's not like you're going to suddenly say, today I'm going to be my biggest supporter, and tomorrow you're magically going to be that. It will take time and practice. Um, a practice I like to do is looking in the mirror and kind of saying, I love you, because it forces me to see myself and say, I love you. And that's hard. That's hard for me. I do like being my biggest critic, and I do like looking at how I can improve, um, but I think if you practice that, say for 6 months, I think you'll see a lot of growth in terms of the way you look at yourself. Um, and I think the other interesting thing is you have to make it a priority. Loving yourself has to be a part of your priority and a part of your purpose. Um, and when you make it a part of your purpose, it will show through your actions. For example, I sometimes say no to social commitments, or I might leave a party at midnight even though it'll go till 2. And a lot of people have asked me how I do that, or why I do that, or how I'm comfortable doing that. And the reason is because I love myself. And part of loving myself is prioritizing myself and my health. And, if I feel tired, or if I feel like I'm just not enjoying myself, I'm going to leave, or I'm going to say no to a party. Um, I think prioritizing yourself is not selfish. It's the right thing to do. Um, there's a point that, and I think this is universal, the better you are, the better you can show up for others. And that's inherently selfless, honestly. Because if you're better, you can be more selfless. Um, so I hope that helps. I really just want to emphasize the time and practice part. It will take time and practice. But if you put in the work, 3 months later, 6 months later, you will see growth. And you will see transformation. So, I think prioritize loving yourself, implement it as a part of your purpose, practice it, and over time, you'll see the growth. If you have any other thoughts or questions or things you feel like I didn't address, let me know. And I'm happy to do another follow-up video. Thank you guys for watching.